Hi, so apologies for the usual error and clumsiness. I'm just today and the past few days have been incredibly challenging for me. And if you ask me what is it that I feel challenged about, I do not have any words or any explanation. Maybe this is the meaning of real suffering. It is shapeless, it is faceless, it doesn't make sense on a profound level, and whoever tries to make sense out of it or whoever gathers some words to explain it, they are fundamentally lying. They are just lying to themselves, they are lying to the world. Because if we truly see or try to understand, suffering does not have a shape, it does not make sense, it is just pure suffering. It's like some sort of a dark cloud, like a stormy weather. It engulfs you, it taints everything, it makes you see even the most beautiful thing in front of you in a different light. It's almost like of a film. Like if we, you must have seen certain movies, they have a certain tint. Like has green tint, Mad Max has warm orangish tint. Similarly, suffering has its own tint. It makes one sees in a shade of dark. And in my journey, I've really, this has been my ongoing, probably my life's biggest and the only project, not just mine. Maybe it is the project of humanity. We all are born to actually understand suffering, the nature of it. Because if what I've learned from my experience, that suffering is a major part of our journey as human beings, and those who know what I mean, they'll get it, what I'm trying to say, and nobody can hide from it. And the only thing one can do is to humbly befriend it or to try to understand it. If you run away from it, if you try to hide it, it will still be there. Probably it will take the bigger shape and bigger structure, and it will show up today or tomorrow or in your on your deathbed. It will show up. It will come and visit you. So suffering has been something that I have really pondered upon, and that has been my companion that I have lived by, and I wake up to, I sleep to. And suffering has also been my biggest inspirer, also has been my fuel that pushes me, that keeps me going, that keeps me alive. And suffering, in a way, you can see is like a teacher that we do not like. We don't like to stand or even be in that teacher's class. But the thing is, when we look back, we realize that that teacher, the one we hated, that teacher, because that teacher was making us do and face things and situations that we did not want to work upon. So suffering is that teacher, and thank God, by God's blessing, that suffering is there in our lives. And thank God that creator has created this journey in such a wonderful way that this teacher never leaves your side. And I'm super grateful about it. And it's like the fact I can go on and talk about it, that in itself speaks volume, that how much I am passionate about to talk about it. Probably even if I'm trying to create a podcast, I chose to be an actor, or whatever I do, it is inspired by deep suffering, not some superficial suffering. That has opened my heart to the feelings of others, to the sufferings of others. That has made me realize that we as human beings are one, and we share this journey together, and nobody is separate, nobody is different. Fundamentally, we all are the same, deep down. And that is such a wonderful thing. And this suffering has brought me to this understanding that all we need as human beings is compassion. That is the one thing that this world needs, nothing else. Now you can choose your way of expressing that compassion to the world around you. You can choose it from your skill, your artistry, your job, your actions, by service, whatever is meant for you. There's like endless possibilities. So coming back to suffering, so it is the fuel of existence, I would say. And it is like, if you look closely, the other side, suffering is the other side of the same coin. One side has suffering, the other side has the happiness and whatever freedom you can call it. And I, as usual, I did not think about that I'll start talking about suffering. This is my commitment to myself, that whenever I show up, I'm not somebody who can plan. If it is not coming from my heart in the moment spontaneously, then it doesn't make any sense. It will be very made up. And I'm not, it is like a, I'm not capable of doing that. I could never do that in my life. So I choose to show up for each one of you. And on a fundamental level, I would say that you guys show up for me, because when I share anything with you all, it's more like I'm opening up my heart and it's healing me. And it isn't, so I'm more grateful about that. I am nobody to give or to share, or nobody to give or to teach anything to anybody. I'm learning on a day to day, on a moment to moment basis. And I was frustrated. I was angry. I want to say for no reason, but there was a reason. I was that anger had triggered because of my diarrhea, whatever, my stomach infection, and that brought this entire week has brought a lot of perspective to me that we don't sometimes we start dreading or start hating. I would say that we are not going to the gym, we are being allowed to go to the gym. It's a privilege to go to the gym. It's a privilege to wake up in the morning and feel fit and to be able to move freely without any ache or problem or injuries. It's a great blessing, and that you are waking up and you're not sick. And we as human beings, we lose that sight, and we become super ungrateful, and we forget how many, like we are swimming in the ocean of blessings. Every movement, everything that we are allowed to do, we take it for granted. And within and this is something that we have to remind ourselves, not intellectually, but on an existential level, like on a spiritual level, like a deep understanding. And this is also something that we really need to, this is the first thing we must do every morning, when we wake up, to actually make us realize again, because we as human beings have a tendency to be forgetful, to get carried away and to lose the sight. So what I'm trying to say is that I've been on this space, this situation countless times, where I start going through the motions of the day, and I start doing things just for the sake of doing things. I start getting by, and then bam, life hits me and makes me realize, oh my god, I was just living without any gratitude. That's why things had lost its charm, its magic. It was nothing was helping me. And then then you realize you that how easy it is to fall back to the same trap again. And that's why I started talking about suffering. And I'm really very thankful to each one of you, whoever is writing to me, watching what I'm trying to create, and supporting me, giving feedback. I'm deeply humbled by that, and I'm also super inspired by that. So I just feel that suffering has played probably the biggest role in my life for my transformation on every step of my life. I feel super blessed that I recognized it, I acknowledged it, and I had the God's blessing to befriend it, like I'm talking about suffering, and to learn from it on a day to day basis. And I can narrate 10,000 stories to you about my journey, where all how suffering has always guided me on the right track. I've been in challenging relationships. I would never say a bad relationship. No relationship is a bad relationship. Every relationship is a divine relationship. Sometimes they come in a very rough form that we call them a bad experience or a bad person. But the thing is, fundamentally, every experience is designed and created, like made to order just for you, only to guide you towards the truth and towards your best and true self, towards happiness, you can say. So in a way, even if it was a rough experience or difficult time, fundamentally it has come to you to teach you, to make you a better human being. So that nothing can be wrong or nothing can be in that sense. I also feel that we as human beings are super stubborn people, stubborn creature, I would say. Certain people, I would speak about myself, we are not, only certain things and certain situations can open certain people, because we are so stubborn. That is why God and the Almighty, the Creator, has chosen a certain situation, certain scenario, a very particular person, just for us to, and only they can help us, to kind of break free from our own ideas of limitations and, false self, whatever you call it. If you look at it, I am growing at a lightning speed on a day to day basis, like, because I'm learning from them, and I thank them. I thank them deeply. It's not like I'm not trying to just say it superficially. I genuinely thank them every morning and in my every evening prayer. I thank everybody, and not just those people. Like, I'll share something very intense. I was confronted to an experience that I could never even, nobody imagines in a way. Like, I could never imagine that I would be facing a situation of such stature or such level, where I actually thought I won't be able to make it on the other side. Like, I thought maybe God or life creator thought that this kid is kind of facing everything and he's pretty much chill. He's like low-key becoming arrogant, that he can face anything in life. Let me give him something that he can't even imagine. And that's how I like to narrate stories to myself. Just like, I'm pretty dramatic that way. Anyway, my dad got cancer a couple of years ago, right after pandemic, and that was a blow to the entire family. And I grew up, as I'm growing older, and my years are passing, I've grown into an individual who prefers silence over everything. I like to understand things slowly, then I like to open myself to what life wants me to learn from it. I hope I'm making sense. So coming back to that situation, my dad got cancer. Everybody were disturbed on another level. I also broke down and it felt like a nightmare. I was pinching myself that, oh my god, this is happening in my house. Can't believe this shit. And then by God's grace, my dad's treatment started because my dad was a fundamentally really very strong man and very healthy as well and fit. His body responded pretty well to the cancer treatment and he recovered pretty fast within the first chemo or something, and then they were supposed to operate him. And something happened to my father in a way, like he became super paranoid and he started listening to the news and news on the Google and the articles on about the people what they share about cancer treatment and what can happen to an individual on an operation in an operation theater room. And he got scared and super paranoid, and he just kind of absconded, and ran away like a couple of days before the operation. And then it's like he said that he doesn't want to get operated, and then weeks turned into months, months turned into 6 months, and then a year and a half, and cancer started taking its aggressive form, and the entire family felt, helpless, like, because I know my father, he can be a little stubborn sometimes. Not little, but yeah, he can be stubborn sometimes. And everybody were getting angry at me that why, Yuvraj, you are not saying anything, why are you so quiet? And people would yell at me, everybody were like pissed at me, they thought I'm emotionless. I was just praying day and night that God, please visit my father in the form of a pure thought, and please lead our family and him to the better path and towards anything that is right and correct for the family and for my father. And this was my prayer day and night, and I stopped engaging with anybody. That was the most turbulent time for me as a human being, like biggest most challenging time. Like on one side my heart was in pieces because my father, my everything, my idol, my father, my hero, my everything was like going through cancer. And on the other side, my cousins, like my bua's son and my family, they were like literally against me. They were like, this guy is detached on another level, and they was misunderstanding me, and I was just quietly enduring it because I just accepted it. And then I had hope, that things will change and my dad will everything will be fine, because all the reports were always in his favor. He was recovering, he was responding pretty well till the kind of like till a year and a half this thing went on. And then right suddenly, the cancer became super aggressive, and then the shit hit the fan, and it deteriorated, and he depleted insanely. And he was in Delhi because he was being treated there, and I was in Mumbai, and I was training. And very I don't know how, but in very twisted and very indirectly, my sisters and everybody tried to call me and try to make me understand like what is about to happen or might happen will happen. And that was the first time, probably maybe the second time, yeah, second time I broke down in the center of the gym. I started howling and crying like a child. So the gym's reception person, gym's manager and the gym's reception person, they came running up to me, and the manager hugged me because the manager knew me, and everything is done for me. Till then, like, I knew that life situations can hit you. People can come and go, like in the form of a girlfriend, or like friendships and careers up and down. Like I used to take them like, yeah, shit happens. You it's like a wave. You learn some days, you get something, then you lose something. And but I was chill about everything. I was never like suffering on another level for those things. I felt challenged, but nothing like this. And this is the first time I felt that my heart is like broken, and I'm like, this is the hardest blow I had taken. And maybe something that I had never faced or felt something like this before in my life. I literally felt my life in pieces, and I literally saw everything that I think as who I literally saw that like crystallizing and literally like disappearing into nothingness. Everything stopped making sense to me, that what am I existing for? What am I alive for? What will I live for from here on? And because I'm literally nothing about without my dad. I'm fundamentally the kind of man I am, my values towards my fitness and my well-being, and even my heart, that wants to learn and grow and always become a better human being for the world around me and for the family and become a good friend. Fundamentally, everything has come from my dad, and he has inspired me he has made me and built me into who I am. And even the career that I've chosen, now I have a little bit of sense of my own. But when I was growing up, I looked up to my dad. Whatever he said, I just followed it, and he made me realize that I can I can be in this field. I can be an artist, not an artist. He used to say I can be a hero because I look pretty good, and I grew up to be a handsome man. as per my family. And my dad was a very good looking man, like the most good looking man I've ever seen. I always wanted to be the best in his eyes. So he never really encouraged anybody with great marks and great, he really, appreciated such people and give this podcast a conclusion. So coming back to that moment, where I felt everything has fallen apart, nothing makes sense to me, and that was the greatest blow I ever received. And so basically, yeah, coming back to that point, and nothing made sense to me after that point onwards. And it took some time for me to realize slowly, like what this is all about, like the deeper dimension of life. I had like two 2 or 3 months kind of prepare, or maybe to dig deeper into my heart to know what is about to happen in my life. I'm a Buddhist by my faith, and I started striving like never before. Started reading scriptures about the father and son bond and relationship, about the loss and everything in general, and started seeking guidance, and yeah, they come to you, they reach out to you, they those guidances make sense to you. But when you're going through something, then you're going through something. Doesn't mean, even though I understood certain thing in my life, you can say I became wise, does not mean I did not cry, and I had no sorrows in my life, but I was not in pain, and I'm still not in pain. The sense of loss will always be there. Yes, I have understanding, I know how to conduct myself, I know how to understand the situation, and I have a higher perspective, I have my faith in my life. But there are some low moments and low days where I experience the dip, I experience that vacuum, that sense of loss that can never be replaced. And the fact I can do the entire podcast about my father where I'm not really howling and crying, that in itself is the biggest proof of my faith and my biggest learning in my lesson. And life is nothing what we think about it. Life is completely, totally something else. And I feel the wisest thing we can do is to allow life to unfold itself and to guide us. It's to allow life to take the front seat of this vehicle, and it is to actually surrender that everything is happening by some higher power. You were born and created from nothing. Your inception happened before you even had a will. Like, the will came to you afterwards, but there's a higher and bigger will, the will of the Lord, that manifested you and created you because you had to come. Why won't you dedicate this existence to your creator, your true father? Sometimes, when you're, that's how I say it, when the father of this life, the physical form life, when that father goes away, you realize who your true father is, because that true father, the creator, we all are his children. Even my dad is his children. And in Buddhism they say that life is like a wave, and which means there are like countless waves on the surface of the ocean. No wave looks the similar on a moment to moment basis. Countless waves are coming on the surface and disappearing into back. To the eye, it creates an illusion where you think that wave has a separate entity of its own. But if you look closely, you realize that wave is nothing but an ocean in itself. That's how these life forms are. That's how we are like a wave. We might be deceived by the idea that we have a separate entity, but fundamentally we are a part of that one big ocean of life. We are part of that creator, the source energy, whatever you call it. And we're supposed to be, that's our destiny, to return back to that. That's where my dad has gone. That's where I will go. That's where everyone is destined to go. Apologies if this sounds a little dark, but I have lots of love and compassion in my heart. Thank you for allowing me to share this with each one of you. Appreciate it big time. So I understood these things, that my father has gone back to the current of life from where he had appeared. Probably, maybe he has popped up, or maybe he has taken a life form elsewhere, close by, or maybe somewhere nearby. I don't know, man. That's what my faith teaches me. And I'm super blessed, I won't say I'm super blessed. You can say that life took care in the form of, faith. Faith came into my life at the right time in 2016 or maybe 17. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it, even past 2017 or 18 maybe. That's the kind of a person I am. My father used to call me as incredibly passionate human being, and he would also sometimes be cryptic about something, his worries around me. He meant to say that because I'm seeking life on such a lightning pace that I might lose the heart to live in this society and in this world, because I'll start seeing this world for what it is, and the insanity and the madness that goes behind everything on a day-to-day basis in this society. And he was right somewhere that time, but then faith took over my life and I was like taken care of. I still am, and it's more like a second birth for me, and I genuinely love each one of you, and thank you for really inspiring me and to kind of giving me great, like almost 100% uplifting feedback, and I feel super inspired to keep sharing with each one of you. And I'd written a kind of small note that what should be this podcast is all about. I've never looked at this direction. This is the first time I'm doing it, That's how I am. Spoke from my heart through and through. So, into your life for its ultimate destiny. Pain's ultimate destiny is power. So, allow pain to transform itself into the power. Don't try to make sense out of it. You'll get lost. You'll waste years and time, energy, get stuck into a loop. Observe pain if you can, like a natural phenomena. It is a natural phenomena. And so, yeah, pain can be seen like you see a clumsiest process of a creature taking birth, in some sort of a wildlife nature. You don't personalize it, right? That's how pain is. Some sort of a creature is taking birth, creature of power is taking birth from the pain. You must allow it to happen, it's pretty impersonal. I'm saying something very profound. I hope I'm making sense to you guys, and thank you so much, guys. It's a big blessing, and sorry for the clumsiness that always happens. Lots of love and peace to you. Take care, guys. This is my solo podcast. Hopefully, inshallah, by God's grace, I'll be making a very interesting podcast for this Saturday, and I'll have a lovely guest on the podcast. And I hope you all are doing incredibly well and really thriving and making the most of each moment. Love and peace to each one of you. Bye, guys. See you.